Advanced Warfare introduced us to supply drops. Black Ops 3 introduced us to a supply drop system that was in no way, shape, or form anything ideal. Then, following years after that, we had Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered, bringing it up a little bit further with Infinite Warfare offering players DLC in terms of weaponry for free to season pass holders, and Modern Warfare Remastered introducing the collection system. World War II kind of compounded on that to end up having a collection system with supply drops and weaponry that weren't necessarily as generous as Infinite Warfare was with DLC weapons, but the weapon variants were just simply cosmetic. So in that sense, it kind of once again upped the bar a little bit further. But as for Black Ops 4, with the entire situation of the gaming industry as a whole kind of being forced to change how they approach microtransactions due to one large force in the industry currently, Black Ops 4 even before launch was up in question on how such a system would work. And well, we finally ended up getting the information around launch time that the supply stream would be a thing, and now about halfway through season 1, we're going to talk about what the fatal flaws are of this system and why right now it does not work and why in the future it could. But that's pending some changes. If you take a look around the community right now, the biggest thing that you'll probably see is that there's a lot of, well, almost nothing in the supply stream. We have 200 tiers and then a ton more after that once you end up getting into the black operations, which are past tier 200, and just then at that point reserve content that comes down to RNG and what you can end up getting out of that. When you take a look at the content of not only just the stream but also the reserves, it comes down to a lot of cosmetics. With one of the big things I'm sure that people want out of this are weapon variants. We see that we have 3. We have a Titan variant, we have a GKS variant, and then we also have an ICR variant in that, but it's only available at tier 50, 105, and 200. So that's quite a hefty interval in between each of those that require you to play an absolute metric ton of Black Ops 4, or if you want to buy the tiers, that's something that's also in place. But to me, I don't understand why there isn't more weapon variants. And I say that bearing in mind that these weapon variants in Black Ops 4 are simply only cosmetic, and that nothing to me screams pay to win. So in that sense, I'm bringing about it in a sense of it's literally just cosmetic. But these sort of variants that you see, the Titan, the ICR, as well as the GKS, those all incentivize players to either grind out the game or, even from a business perspective, probably buy some tiers. But right now, the way that I see it, we only have one at 50, 105, and 200. There's almost zero incentive that makes me want to grind out the game for all the tiers. I'm tier 70 something or like that, but it seems almost like a chore to me to think about getting to the Damascus at 105, just 30 some ranks or so away, let alone the idea of getting to the Hudson skin at 199 and the ICR Blind and Glory at 200. Just the timing to do so is kind of overwhelming, and again, kind of dissuades me from wanting to grind out and go for that top tier rank. To put it in perspective, take out the double tier boost that we had last weekend, you have to play through 200 tiers, and that play is an equivalent of about 8 days and 8 hours of sheer in-game playtime, which with menus probably is more like 10 days, if not more, of time sitting at your PlayStation 4, Xbox, or PC for stickers, uniforms, calling cards, emblems, and finally, 3 weapon variants. And if you want to take into account the reserves content, which there's a near whopping 900 items that are in the reserve content, you know how many of those are weapon variants? One variant out of all of that content, the SG-12 Kill Kano, and right now there just seems to be no value to the system. That's where I'm kind of coming here at this. The current system in place with the content stream for this particular season at least doesn't really have any value. And when we take a look at Blackjack's shop, that is something that of course is very nice to be able to buy directly items. Of course it is for an upchart, it's never going to be back to where it was, say, in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 2, where you have $2 to $5 customization packs where you can get camos, reticles, calling cards, and all that kind of stuff thrown in the mix. Instead, you're gonna pay probably $9 for a uniform or something like that. And while it is still kind of a step down from that direct buying system that we've seen in the past, it's at least a step up from just RNG, where you have to put money and get a chance to get what you want. Instead, you can buy outright whatever you see there. But again, it really all comes down to the value of it. There's only all really uniforms right now, and I get uniforms are dope, but it's a first-person game, and the only possible way to view your entire character model is if you're down in Blackout or Heist, or if you emote in 3P. Other than that, 95% or more of the playing time you'll only see your arms and the designs on there essentially. So when you take a look at $9 for a uniform that you'll only see partially of, or a few dollars for an emote, which again, not many people end up using emotes. I can't say that I've really used emotes other than one that actually gives a beneficial advantage. We'll talk about that at a later point in time in Blackout. The value just doesn't seem to be there for me, or at least in this current state that we're in within Black Ops 4 right now, within Season 1. So how do you remedy this? Well, there's a couple of different ways, and we'll talk about the farther future a little later in the video, but if I were to say correct Season 1 right now and maybe set the mold for what we see for Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and so on and so forth as we get these new operations come out in each 60, 70 day total for the game time that we have to complete it, what I'd say is variants are a big part of this. One thing that I'm really surprised about Black Ops 4 is that whenever we heard about the introduction of signature and mastercraft weapons, we kind of really thought this was going to be a big thing coming into it. The way it was touted was that it was going to be the next innovation for Call of Duty, and seemingly that every single weapon was going to have something. But instead we have, what, 6 to 8 variants or something like that within Black Ops 4 across the board. About a third of the weapons have a weapon variant at that, whereas it sounded like from the announcements pre-launch and pre-release was that it was going to be something that each weapon would eventually have 3, 4, 5 variants perhaps. I remember thinking about it the way that World War II had their variants, but a step up and above that you had challenges associated with those, you could end up getting cool, awesome camos out of that. So to only have a handful of variants in Black Ops 4 to begin with, that's kind of interesting to me. So if you were able to end up grinding out the game and maybe have, say, a variance every 20 levels or so, I think that'd be a nice little benchmark that greatly increases the value of what the content is within the supply stream system. Additionally, I think that more things need to be added in that have some intrigue or some value at all to players. When you take a look at the stickers or the emotes, they're pretty much like the pistol grips from World War II. The things that plagued the supply drop contents then are the same things that are coming back in supply stream now. To me, if you end up putting things like camos in, you can again unlock incrementally, like maybe say every 20 levels again, alternating say tier 10 as a camo, tier 20 as a weapon variant, tier 30 is a camo, tier 40 is a weapon variant, and so on and so forth. Things like that will start to add more value and won't really clutter up the user end options for what you end up having to drop at one time. Additionally, maybe even consider adding things in like COD points in the supply stream so that you can organically get things that will help you buy in-game items like that. It's not necessarily something that I think is all that worthwhile if you're going to be grinding out and getting stickers and everything, but you see a uniform that is pretty awesome in your eyes and you really want that, or maybe in a later point a camo or maybe even a weapon variant of its own, but you have to pay 900 COD points, 1500 COD points, whatever it may be for that item, but you spent all this time grinding the game for nothing that really helped you achieve that item. Instead, it's just something that again digs deep into your pocket. So if you end up every so often maybe dropping 200 to 500 COD points as a tier reward, I think that that would greatly increase the interaction players would see with items in the stores. Additionally, we really need that challenge system within the black market. The tier skip was a good start, but to me it's not enough. Given a season is roughly, for theory's sake, let's say 50 days. It's a little more than that, we know, but you'd still, in theory, have about 3/4 of the tiers to do, even if you just logged on and won a game or got 1 merit each day. That's something you'd have a nice 50 tier head start, but you'd still have 150 tiers left to go, and then plus whatever is in black operations going further in season 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. That's still a ton. So to be able to have challenges, and let's say theoretically it's 2 to 3 a day that will allow you to skip even more on top of that daily tier skip system, that's something that would just greatly help out and of course just reward overall grinding. But if you didn't have the time to put into the game, that's still totally fine, and therefore that whole system of buying tiers that is already in place would be something that would still be there, but reward more so playtime than just simply shelling out money from your wallet. That to me is a huge thing that honestly I really hope these challenges come soon. They were mentioned a couple of weeks back now at this point, but we've seen no mention of them thus far, so as for when, your guess is as good as mine. But here's where I have hope, at least, where right now I'm not necessarily completely writing off this entire system for the entire year. The positive fear for this is that it's still early. Black Ops 4 is still in air quote launch mode. It's not something where we're focused too much on extracurricular content too much just yet. We'll end up seeing as the year progresses, and probably very soon, the introduction, and maybe even as early as season 2 in about 3 weeks time here for the next operation, what we end up seeing with that post-launch content such as camos, DLC weapons, variants, and those things I think will be coming in time, and I think eventually will make their way into the supply stream system, and ultimately ultimately Blackjack shop as well for direct purchase, but right now it just seems like there could be room for improvement. And so I'm hoping that this is how it actually happens, where we do get more items like camos, not things like stickers and sprays and emotes that I'm gonna use once in a blue moon or really only ever glance at to get rid of that new icon in my customization menus. So to me, as soon as more things start to come out, we have a lot on deck between everything. Of course, again, extracurriculars like camos, weapon variants, and even things on the Blackout end are probably gonna be coming in like new characters at some point. So there's a lot of room for improvement, a lot more to add value to the items in the actual supply stream as is. But right now, just seemingly as this cold open to what the supply stream is right out of launch, I think that's why it seems as bad as it does. And I think that in the future, again, it can get better. But for right now, that's where I'm kind of at. Hopefully these sort of things get maybe taken into consideration. Maybe we end up seeing some of these things implemented. I have absolutely no idea if they will be added in, but I certainly would love to see some more things like camos, like COD points, new Blackout characters, all kinds of stuff. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Kind of wanted to do a little laid back video here at this one and just give you my thoughts on the overall system, because I'm a fan of how this could be, but right now I just don't think that it's the best, and right now, I'm not really a huge fan of it. So love to put my thoughts out there for you guys and maybe see what your thoughts are to maybe create a little general discussion about all of this. And that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of the supply stream system right now? Do you agree, disagree, and in what way, shape, or form do you or do you not agree with this video? That said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4. Anything relating to multiplayer, Blackout, zombies, we got you covered here on the channel with the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, best class setups, all that good stuff, you name it, we got you covered. So, any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Links in the description below. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.